And today we are going to stay with the future and share good practices and tips to shape the best future for your company. And that strategy is an action plan to reach a particular goal. As simple as that. It's a Greek word. That's what it means. I did not define a good strategy. I defined a strategy. Right? And then, of course, it comes with a strategic plan that maps where the company is headed, the short-term and long-term targets, and then action that management will take to achieve outcomes. It seems uncertainty is really big, right? Direction, lack of visibility, lockdown, seeing the forest for the trees. What is my target? Competing opinions, customer behavior, execution, changes, complexity. And today I have great joy and a big privilege to welcome on the program Miss April Srivikorn, who is Google Cloud Country Manager for Vietnam, Thailand, and Malaysia. We're talking about strategic planning here, but is this really the moment to work on long-term strategy when kind of all of our time can be taken by many excruciating problems we have on hands, you know?
You know, that's a good question. And I think my response would be absolutely. I think it's important, especially in times like these, for us as leaders to keep our teams focused on the right priorities for the longer term. But you all might ask, how do you do that when the context around us is so dynamic? And you may feel like I do that, look, we can't even see 3 months, 6 months ahead, much less be able to put together, you know, what the rolling 3-year plan should be like. You know, so what I tell executives that I work with is that, you know, the importance of establishing the North Star for what we do and how we get there as a team. I've seen, you know, surveys that say like 56% of executives say that managing shifting priorities is the top challenge for them they're facing with COVID-19, right? So you have to continually reassess all of the moving parts, and tools and planning help, but they help to some extent. What I think is really important, I believe, is to establish a sense of purpose. And this is the constant that will guide your team as the North Star that I mentioned. So take a look at Google. It's the same here. Our mission, which is universal in what we do and focus on in terms of our work, is to organize the world's information and make it easily accessible to everyone. This for us is the what. Then when you look at our values, right, which we call the 3 respects, respect the user, respect the opportunity, respect each other, that reflects the how of how we do things and how we work with others. So strategies itself may change, action plans may change, the products we focus on may change, but the mission of what we do and how we do it remains the constant.
What do you see as important shifts in how large corporations use information technology?
That's a good question. So big data, right? And it's important to start building early success within the organization of the role that big data can play, right? Otherwise, you know, the culture never gets formed around utilizing data analytics for decision making. If you know, you spend 3 or 4 years just you know, trying to prepare everything for the eventual outcome. Rather, let's take small, nimble steps in getting to that point.
Business. So I defined what strategy is before, right? And it's very simple. It's an action plan to go from where we are to where we want to be, right? Now, that's simple. What is not so simple at all is to define a sound strategy. And what is it about? Well, Michael Porter, you know, the author of the competitive strategy book, his 5 Forces, has said a sound strategy is a unique value proposition that unique as compared to other organizations, right? A different value chain, clear trade-offs, deciding what to do, what not to do. That resonates with what April was talking about before. Activities that fit together and reinforce each other and also importantly, strategic continuity with continual improvement in realizing the strategy as much as that's possible. Now, crisis may create an exception for that. And McKinsey has said a good, sound strategy is an integrated set of actions designed to create a sustainable advantage over competition. Something that I'd love to invite you to play with is a free resource. It's crowdsourced foresights. And you can just access this by clicking on this link that Teddy is copying in the chat box at the very moment, right? So then you arrive to that page, right? And the focus at the moment is making sense of the world and responding to the question, how will the world change after COVID-19? So on that website, you're going to have plenty of insights about the evolution of the environment. So when you go down that page and you click on read more here, then you see that introduction, and then you access to what they call their radar. So that is their radar, in fact, and you can see different topics here: city self-sufficiency, or health monitoring spaces, or COVID-19 and mental health, hidden exercise, telepresence, remote work, and those in green, like leadership crisis here, are signals on the radar that are strengthening. Those in gray. Once you've completed a first take at the strengths, the weaknesses, the threats, and the opportunities, you go around one more time and you look at strengths and you ask yourself, how can we leverage those strengths further to create more opportunities for us? So you look at the weaknesses and you think, how can we perhaps decrease those weaknesses, right? Or convert them into a strength, right? You look at the strengths, threats, and you ask yourself, how can we mitigate or avoid any risk related to them? And then you come up with many more ideas that all go into the opportunities box, right? And you're going to end up with a very long opportunities list. And so many companies are going to have a great idea and come up with a very aggressive strategy to take a lot of market share and underestimate the response of competitors. And then, of course, competitors are going to be very hurt and respond very, very aggressively. And that is going to beat the assumptions we had made, and then everyone is going to lose big time, in fact. So if you have a genius strategy, but then the level of buy-in in the company is really very low, then there will be no energy to act on that, right? April mentioned the importance of having a purpose, having a North Star that everybody buys in, right? So uncertainty may actually dissipate sooner than we think. The latest studies we have here from McKinsey, dated from yesterday, actually just got it in my email this morning. They found that in nearly every region, respondents have a more optimistic than pessimistic outlook for their own economies.
While some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
What you can do remotely is you watch Mavericks. So Mavericks are those usually smaller players than perhaps your big companies, right? They are very agile, very innovative, risk takers, and they look for your clients' dissatisfaction. They look for gaps in your value proposition. They look for new technologies to leverage in your field, right?